Hello, everyone here doing a sound check on the mic. How's the sound? Hopefully good. Let's get a webcam going. And the webcam, bam, a little bit of zoom in there. There we go. Okay. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Welcome to the morning stream here for Tuesdays. Sound is good. Okay. Motion, good to see you. Constantine, good to see you. Welcome to everyone joining this here. So every Tuesday we do a pre-market watch list where we go through our stock scanning process and our selection process for picking the stocks that we're going to day trade for that day. And this doesn't mean that these are the only stocks we're going to day trade, because sometimes stocks don't move pre-market, but then something happens upon market. They get a big volume surge, some piece of news comes out, and they start moving and they become the hot stocks for the day. But this is to prepare us so we can kind of know what we want to be looking at and what's already moving pre-market, which gives us information about which stocks are generating institutional interest and possibly have positive news catalysts that are giving stocks a boost pre-market. So we're really just preparing ourselves for what are potentially some big movers for the day. Howdy you, Colin. Howdy, Damala and Lewis. Good to see you all as well. So good to have everybody here. So let's go through our pre-market list here. We always start off with Benzinga. So Benzinga Pro, I am an affiliate of them. I really love their app. It's a game-changing app for me in terms of trading stocks because it does all the scanning and filtering for me. And so we always start off with the movers section right here. And, I'm looking at, okay, what stocks are moving in terms of percentage, but then really what I'm concerned with is volume. I need to know that the stock has enough pre-market volume to say, hey, there's enough institutional interest on this that this should move. And so what I'm doing is looking at any stock that is above 600,000, and then I'm comparing it to the average volume, because it could have 600,000 shares or greater, but the average volume could be 10, 15, 20 times higher. That tells me it's not pushing its normal kind of pre-market boundaries. But if I see something that has 1.1 million shares in pre-market and its average daily volume is 400,000 shares, that's already 2 times its normal volume. So there is a lot more interest in this stock today than there generally is on an average basis. So when we look at what's happening, we actually have a pretty good Tuesday start, Monday being the holiday here in the US, so markets are closed. We got some big ones when we got ACRS up 100 and now 110%, 4% in the last few minutes. We have GEVO, we have CRNT, Ceragon Networks, and FRSX. And then we have let's see here, GRTS, CRNT, ACRS, and GEVO. Okay, so I did a little bit, instead of kind of going through it in real time, a couple of these do have some positive news catalysts. So GRTS is gotten that it's developing a second generation COVID vaccine. So the benefits work longer. It has certain things that the first generation, the mRNA and Pfizer vaccines don't. This is up 44%, and it's already double its average daily volume. So we are going to take a look at this. We have FRSX, which doesn't have any company-specific news. However, last week, if I remember correctly, it was last week, the ARK fund, Kathy Wood, has said that they're increasing their stake in this. And Foresight Autonomous is one of those companies that develops technology for self-driving cars for detecting vehicles and potential objects in front of you. So it's part of the EV space, which is really hot right now. And it's something we want to be paying attention to. They're only at about 10% of their average daily volume, so nothing gangster, but it's up 14%. And so I think it's probably getting a little bit of extra boost from people catching up that ARK's invest into it. And when ARK's invested into it, people pay attention. Ceragon Networks, I could not find anything in terms of specific news. They are building technology for 5G networks. So I think that's kind of the thing of everybody moving into the tech of the future, which I think is awesome. They are double their average daily volume right now, a little bit more than that, and they're up 28%. They did get a buy rating So I forget which analyst, but they maintain a buy rating on this one, and it's already surpassed the buy ratings price targets. So that's interesting. ACRS, no company specific news, but huge jump and huge volume. So something is going on. I couldn't find anything on it. It's over 10 times the average daily volume. Positive preliminary. Okay, so it just came up here. Positive preliminary data from 12-week phase trial of rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so so there is some news that came out a couple hours ago. So that's pretty much what we're going to be taking a look at today. So let's go through the list. Mal, we'll get to your question in a little bit. We got to go through the list first here. So GRTS, I'm liking this price action to start off with. We have a jump and then we have a consolidation pretty much near the top. We do have a couple rejections, which you can see here and here. This is the 5-minute chart. So we do have some rejections on the top side around 10, which is not surprising. Big round number, but it's holding near the top. Other than a brief dip, it's holding, and now it's consolidating above VWAP here, which is the orange line. So I'm liking the pre-market action so far. GRTS in terms of volume, 2.5 times. So that's solid in terms of volume. We've marked the pre-market highs, and pre-market highs on the weekly is right about here. Now, this stock does have a tendency to rally and then phase, rally and then phase, rally and then phase, rally and then phase, rally and then phase. However, there's a little bit more of a build this time. You know, we were consolidating between 4 and 256 for quite a while. And then we've had 4 out of 5 weeks, if you're including this week, of bullish price action. So there's been a consistent build in it, and you are starting to see the volume increase. In volume right now, it's only Tuesday, first day of the week, is almost half of last week's volume. So basically what we're seeing is continued interest building over weeks in this particular stock. And now the pre-market is at 10, which is pretty significant. So plotting future resistance that I think might be a sticking point. We got here, kind of got this right here, this. So we got those as potential resistance. I could see some resistance right around 1266. But then after that, I don't see much until about 15. So there's room for this stock to, move another good 50%, which is quite a lot. So I'm liking this on the weekly. I like the structure it's building over time. I like how the volume is increasing, and I like the pre-market action. We're going to keep this one on the list. In terms of where I would look to trade it in this session, I'd like to see a little bit of a dip when we have this kind of consolidation. So I'd like to see a little bit of a dip, maybe $8. Not sure if that matches up with anything prior. Let's see here. So this is 8. Okay, so it's not bad. 8, maybe down to 7. I'd like to see a dip, maybe 8 down to 7. Otherwise, I'm going to wait for this to clear 1027. So I'll set some alerts at these price levels. And this way I don't have to watch it a whole lot. Like I don't have to be just staring at this. I have my alerts in terms of bracketing where I'd be interested in getting in. And if it triggers those alerts, then I'm going to watch the price action and watch the time and sales and the DOM in real time, and then make a decision to get in or not. So that's GRTS, solid option for right now. FRXS, this is the one about the scanning technology in cars. ARK probably put in their investment right around this time and then announced it a few weeks later. So we've seen kind of a similar thing. It had been consolidating for a while here on the weekly. And then we see several weeks of building huge jumps in price and big jumps in volume. So, ARK probably got in maybe even a little bit before this, but we see a big jump in these weekly candles, big expansion. That's a lot more institutional interest coming in. So looking at this pre-market, we're going to look at the 5. So high is 10, a little over 10 again, and it rejects. This isn't holding as well. So here's the spike. News comes out. People start to find out ARK's involved. But that's not holding as much. So I'm a little less inspired about trading this right off the bat. And I'm probably going to look for a deeper pullback. So looking at the 4-hour, it's not bad. It's not. 615 is a little bit better. So, yeah. I'd like to see a little bit of a pullback. I may consider at 768, but I'd like to see a little bit deeper pullback to low sixes, which I think has a little bit better of a base. So big run up, consolidation, impulsive corrective move here, impulsive holding above this, and a launch higher in extension. So yeah, I'm going to look for a pullback to like 6.5 to low sixes. I'd like to see a little bit of a pullback because we do see some topside selling on this one here with the constant wicks to the top side and not the downside. So it's not that it's being bought on dips, it is, but we're seeing rejections on these 4-hour candles consistently. So potential tendency to pull back, therefore we'll look for dips on this one here. So that's what I'm looking at on FRSX. We got 3 more to go, and then we can do open Q&A. CRNT, which was Ceragon Networks, no specific news, but which is the one that was moving ACRS. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. It's up 130%. What the heck? You're off my charts. Jesus. All right, we'll get to you in a second. A little bit of a pullback on the pre-market move. So there's the highs. Let's see what that looks like on the weekly. Okay, that lines up pretty decently. You kind of see there. So that's where it is pre-market. There was a base around 5. Right now it's at 627. So it hit 7 and has now pulled back about half of that. And so let's look at one more time on the weekly, just see if there's anything. So if we can get past 7, then I think there's room to 857, and then I think 969, which is right around here. So potential for room in this one here. See how this one's different though? There's like volume's the same, and then a 1-week spike. So it's all this week. So it's not like the FRSX, which have been building positions over time, people are generating interest in it. GRTS, same thing, building over time. No, this is just a 1-week spike. So these things, unless there's something huge in terms of company-specific news that comes out, these things might fade a little bit. They might generate interest, run for a few weeks, but they tend to fade a little bit. It's different. It's not like it's been building positions and volume and interest and people knowing about that stock over time. I'm going to be a little more tentative on this one here, but I will watch it around. Yeah, look for a pullback around 536, maybe 5 flat before I generate anything. But we've had a pretty significant extension from 3 to 7, 200% plus extension on this one here from here. So yeah, a little bit more caution on this one. All right, let's go look at what the heck is going on with you. ACRS, you are the 2nd generation vaccine, I think. Hey, now, why isn't the, what was that about? Okay, this is the rheumatoid arthritis one. Okay, so not COVID specific, but this is a massive amount of volume. It's holding above dynamic support and resistance. This is the 9 right here, and the VWAP, impulsive corrective, impulsive corrective, impulsive corrective. I might have to trade this pre-market. So let's take a look at weekly and see. Wow, we've had a huge jump on the weekly. It's huge. That's huge. So where is the next 1420 already? Next resistance isn't until about 16. Might get a little sticky between here and 1480, but then after that we have 16. And then there's some stickiness around here, but I think if we can get above 16, there's scope for a move to 20. Yeah, this is a big mover on the day. I mean, yesterday it was at 5. It's almost up 300%. And I'm not seeing the huge volume build over time. Yeah, I'm not seeing a huge volume build. I'm just trying to think of why a rheumatoid arthritis stock would, why would a development about rheumatoid arthritis be so gangster that it's up 300%? So it's not anything. 12-week phase trial. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, short term, it's kind of gangster. It seems to be pulling back and holding around the dynamic support. So maybe a pullback to 12 or 1242. I'll watch this one. So we'll get an alert going on this. We just had a big spike in volume though. I mean, that's huge. It kind of feels more like one of those chat room stocks or something like that that somebody pumped up. There is a positive news catalyst, so that's there. That can't be denied. But I'm just kind of shocked that something would go from, in one day, would go from 5 to almost 15. That's almost 300%. So there's, what's the volume on this one here? 9.4 million. It's almost, yeah, it's almost 20 times average daily volume. Okay, so this is just generating a lot of interest. Probably some, pre-market day traders or something like that. I don't want to chase this one because it shows a tendency to pull back, and it's pretty far away from the 9 right now on the 5-minute, which is super high momentum. So I'm going to wait for a little bit of pullback on this one here. But if we can get a nice pullback, then I think we'd look for a move up to 16. And then if we break 16, then we're looking for 20. Might run into some stickiness around 17 or 1840, but that's kind of what I'm looking at in ACRS. If it continues to just ramp like this, I might have to get involved pre-market. How are we doing? 12 minutes before market opens. So yeah. Okay. Last one, GEVO. Nice pre-market structure. So aftermarket, a little bit of a build, then big impulsive move here and corrective structure at the top. So it's holding. Some of those others are fading. This is holding. So there's less profit taking on this one here. So I'm liking this one so far, just from a pre-market standpoint. Let's mark the pre-market highs and then look at the weekly. And again, different from some of the others. Some of the others just had no volume and then kind of or no build in the price action and then a 1-week jump. This has been building for weeks now. What is GEVO? What is GEVO? Oh, there we go. Co-founder Francis H. Arnold to presently his science team. That's going to be a big boost to that company. So they're already 1/4, 25% their average daily volume. Okay. So that's positive news for that one there. And here's pre-market highs at 9. If we can clear 9, then your next sticking point is going to be 10.75, which you should be able to see because of this and this right here. Maybe all the way up to, 11.17. So 10.75 to 11.17 could be a sticking point for this one here. And we've now pulled back 50 cents. So let's take a look at the 5-minute. Overall, this is pretty solid structure. Good volume, impulsive move, early market trading. So thin volume liquidity, but volume's coming in near the highs. So they're buying dips close to the pre-market highs. There's interest in extending this higher. Yeah, and it's starting to curl a little bit. So this one is looking pretty solid. I wouldn't mind a dip to 827, which is kind of the lows of this corrective structure. Otherwise, we can go to the 1 hour, which is the base of the resistance here and here. So I think that is another potential pullback level of 7.6. So 826 right around there or 7.6 wouldn't be bad. So I got my alerts out on that one here. Okay, so those are the top 5 that we're looking at. GRTS, ACRS, still very hot. GEVO, CRNT. Let's move in terms of order what I think are the most interesting. Not necessarily the top dogs. Okay, so I'm putting FRSX and CRNT towards the back of the list. The tabs that have the most interest to me go to the left, and the ones that have middle interest in the middle, and the ones at the least interest to the right for that particular day. Of the 5, these 2 are the least interesting because they're pulling back some of their pre-market gains. They're not holding them. They're not maintaining them. They're not finding dip buyers towards the highs. So these 2 are dipping a little bit. So we're going to move those back a little bit. GRTS relatively holding near the highs. GEVO looking strong. This looks like it might want to press 9 pretty soon. And then ARCS still holding pretty much at the pre-market highs. So these are the top 3 that we're looking at right now. Okay, let's get to some quick questions and then Yeah, 1450. Colin saying there's ARCS resistance at 1450. Yeah, I see it right back here. Yeah, I spot that. Yep, it's definitely legit. Victor saying BLU daily considering entering a trade. Okay, so first he wants to look at BLU. If you want to look at a stock or anything like that, doesn't matter what instrument, you got to give me symbol, time frame, 1 sentence description, bullish or bearish. Otherwise, I won't look at it. And if you're in the trade, give me entry, stop loss, and take profit so I can analyze that. BLU, Bellis Health, Biotech. What can we find out about them? Blue. 50 million at the market facility. 250 in common stock. So they just phase 2 blueprint, train of chronic pruritus. If it's an itis, it's an inflammatory condition of something. So I don't know what pruritus is. Associated with atopic dermatitis. Okay, so some sort of skin condition. Yeah, so if there's any sort of itis condition, you know it's inflammatory. But that was a few weeks ago. So other than the at the market facility, that's everything's all a few weeks ago. So let's take a look at this one here. Let's see, blue. It's not in my pre-market scanner. Oh, sorry. It's not in my pre-market scanner. So, okay. What are you looking at this one here? Considering entry if it clears 4.5, I'm bullish on the closing the gap in the price action. The structure is good. Let's take a look at weekly. Earnings not till February, so you got some time. There's no big volume spike, so there's not like huge huge institutional interest. Is this showing pre-market? It doesn't show. That is pre-market. Or maybe that's just the pre-market price. I wonder if it shows pre-market volume. 398. You're going to find some resistance. This is all in my opinion here. I think you're going to find some resistance here at 460 and 562. Through, you can see it here, here, and then here. So 450 or 405. I don't see anything special about 405. I like a little bit of a pullback on this one, maybe to mid to low threes. Somewhere around here wouldn't be bad, which would kind of line up with that. So I'd like me personally, just my opinion, I'd like a deeper pullback, or I'd like to see it clear 460, which does have a solid resistance here. So that could, because it was there for several weeks, if we get back above it, that could potentially become a floor, in my opinion, for the next leg up to 562. They give you $1 room to run, but I'm not seeing anything about 405 on this chart. Let me see if there's anything on the 4 hour and clear that. Yeah, I see a better base on a pullback. 360 or this kind of base right here. Those to me look like the better options. I don't say anything specific about 405 though. So that's my analysis on blue. Constantine, you see SNDL weekly going long term. Sundial Growers, cannabis stock? Is that what this is? Pre-market volume on blue is 62K. Eek. It's too low. It's too low. Too low for me. Sundial Growers, are you a cannabis stock? Probably. Yeah. Okay. Didn't know about this one. 66 cents. Wow. Going the penny stock route. Okay. Okay, there is an interest in, there's an increase in volume, which is good, but the stock's not really moving. Weekly long to 370. I don't like current levels. Let's look at 4-hour. It's sub $1, so I generally do not trade stocks that are sub $1. This is not my cup of tea. I generally find them to be much more risky and less liquid. Yeah, I'd like a little bit more of a pullback on this one here. 5.8, maybe 6 cents. But ramps pulls back, ramps pulls back. The base here is not this prior base, so it's an unclean trend. It's not like creating a ceiling and then breaking above that ceiling and using it as a floor. So it's a little bit dicier of a stock. It might be one of those that you want to look at more like that. That may be more of what's happening with the stock. But it's a huge range considering the price. We have an impulsive move from 15 cents up to 80 cents, but then it retraces most of that move. So not exactly my favorite type stock. Like if I'm going to see an impulsive move and then a retracement, I don't want to see, 90% of it retrace because it's telling me that it's not able to sustain gains. That means I have to really spot like the premium dip buying opportunity to catch the most of the upside. Whereas if you have something that's much more stable, well, then I know where there's a floor of buyers coming in. So I can't say I'm totally crazy about it. I would say let this build. It's sub penny stock and things like that. Liquidity is going to be super low. Wow. 470 million volume? Really? Huh. Okay. Yeah. I like that. I personally don't trade stocks sub, $1 really. It's just not my thing. I generally can't find the liquidity, the shares. This one, 400 million, you're going to find the shares. But yeah. And there's probably no options on it. So yeah, not my cup of tea, but I would look for a deeper pullback on this one here. Son Zechariah. I feel ready, but I'm expecting to go higher tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a whole lot on this one here. I think you have to watch the structure on this one here. And again, it has a tendency to retrace huge portions of its gains. So that means you have to be super fast and catching it, timing really good. I mean, here it only held for, not even a 4-hour candle. And this was almost all pre-market. So it tends to lose a lot of that. So I would wait for deeper pullbacks on this one. I think there are better cannabis stocks that are more stable, that have better liquidity, like ACB, TLRY, APHA. I have positions in all of them, stock and option position. So if you want to play cannabis stocks, which in my opinion, I think is some of the more interesting plays this year, I think cannabis stocks are going to be very strong. 1 minute to pre-market. So yeah, I like the ones that have a little bit more institutional interest. Okay. That's pretty much it. There was one question way back here. Maul is saying, is the FTSE 100 move based on how the stocks move, or do traders trade the FTSE? Both. They trade both. Every index, people are going to trade the index. Some people trade the index specifically. Some people are going to trade the biggest ETF for that index. Like in S&P 500, there's a lot of people who won't trade the S&P 500, but they'll trade the SPY because it's cheaper. So, that there are people who just trade the ETF. There are people who just trade the index, via futures or something like that. But yeah, and then there's some people who just trade the individual stocks. So it's good. The moves are going to be a collective of all that. So, no chart is completely random. There is no chart that's completely random. The market is a combination of order and chaos. Order and chaos, and it always will be. It will never be all chaos, and it will never be all order. It never will be and never can be. You have to understand markets are a combination of order and chaos. Therefore, no chart is going to be completely random. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'm going to jump into the live trade room for my trading masterclass members. So we're going to jump in that right now and do our live trading. If you enjoyed this, hit the thumbs up and the like on that. Also, make sure, I should have had this. I don't know why I didn't have it earlier. Make sure you understand our disclaimer, and it's important that you understand our disclaimer. We will post a link in this here, but trading is risky. It's taken time. It's taken a lot of practice for me to get to this stage. I am not preaching that trading is something that you can learn a few patterns and you're just going to go gangster on it. Trading is a skill. It takes time to learn. Don't confuse a bull market for brains. Super important. A lot of people did that in 2017 with Bitcoin. A lot of people did that in 2007 leading up to the crash. A lot of people did in 2003 with the Euro US dollar. A lot of people confuse a bull market for brains. And then all of a sudden the market starts to turn and they don't know what to do. That tells you that you don't have skills to trade both sides of the market or read transitions in the price action trends. This takes time. Trading is risky. It's not something that's easily done. You're jumping into the NBA when you jump into the markets. You have to understand that. So be smart. Prove that you can make money on sim and demo before you go live. It's super important that you understand that and our disclaimers. But if you enjoyed this and if you got some decent trade ideas, hit that like button. We appreciate it. I'm going to go to the live trade room. So good luck trading, everybody. And I will see you guys next Tuesday, same time. Maybe I'll do one this Friday. I haven't done a Friday session live on YouTube. So maybe we'll do a live one this Friday around 6:30 Pacific. So it'll be 9:30 right around market open. So we'll probably do one this Friday for about an hour. So I hope to see you then. Good luck trading, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.